Hey everybody, welcome back to another Leetcode problem 228 summary ranges. So we are given, let me explain. The description here is very confusing. So let me explain what they want us to do with this problem. So they're giving us a list 0, 1, 2, 3, not 3. We'll be taking this number one example. So 4 and 5 and 7. What they want us to do is to return a list of string array of string in which we have whenever the difference between two consecutive elements is no more than one, just basically one, then they want us to include it in our range. So we can see 0 and 1 has a difference 1 has a difference of with 2 1. So this is our range. But when we see 2 with our compare 2 with 4, there is a distortion. You can say there is a missing element, one missing element. So we will break our range and start a new range. Now we will see 4 with respect to 5 have a difference of 1. So we will just make a new range 4 and 5. And now we will take 7 and take its difference with 5. We have again a missing element 6. If there was a 6, this would have been like this because our range is completed. And now 5, like yes. And now we will take the difference 7 and 5. This is 2. We have break our range. So now we will check if 7 has its, like this is 7 is alone standalone number. So we will just, whenever we have a standalone number, you can say, which has no consecutive elements before it, which gives with respect to it gives the difference of 1. And so if it was 8, like this, like this. So this is a sorted list. We also have to keep in mind this is a sorted list. I forgot to say it in earlier, but this is a sorted list. So 7 will be like this, but in this case 7 is alone. So when a number is alone, we will just append it like this. So this is how they want us to do things. So what we will be doing to solve this problem is just making a pointer and then making another pointer, which will be I plus 1. So we will keep incremented our j pointer until the difference between two consecutive you can say elements becomes more than 1. So 0 and 1 difference is 1, increment j. Difference between 1 and 2 increment is no more than 1. So increment our j. Difference between 2 and 4 is more than 1. Do not increment our j. Put I as the range, like we will now do this. Let me remove all these characters. So uh, I will be going as a starting range, and j minus 1 will be our, you can say, ending end point. So this is like this. After we are done, we will put I at the place of j, and we know earlier like j is I plus 1. I said it earlier that j will be I plus 1 because obviously we do not want the same pointer at two pointers locating at the same position. So now we will take the difference again. If it is 1, what we will do is just increment our j. And now in this case 5 and 7 have the difference more than 1. So we will break and make I as our starting point. I is at 4, so we will have 4 as our starting point, and j minus 1, which will give us 5 as our ending point for that specific range. So after doing this, we will increment our I to wherever j is, and j is always I plus 1. J will be going out of bounds. So whenever the difference between j and I becomes 1, j minus I is equal to 1, we know that this is the character that is alone, that is alone. I hope you understand. This is pretty straightforward, that is alone. So we will just add it to our list like this. So this is how things will work. And now let's code it down. So I is equal to 0, and we will be making a result like this. Result is while I is less than equal to length of nums, and we know that j will be equal to I plus 1. So I plus 1 j. So while j is less than length of nums, if nums at j minus 1 plus 1, if we add them with 1, becomes nums at j. If it is, then what we'll do is just keep incrementing our you can say j by 1, and in else case we will just break, like stop here, and now we will be going we will just move out of this while loop, and we will say if j minus I, if the difference between these two becomes 1, we know that this is a standalone character. We will character up, you can say a number, because it is going to become a character in our resultant list. So oh, what okay, now we have to typecast it to string, and we'll be taking nums at j minus 1. Okay, this is done. Now in the else case, we know that we have our two ranges, so we will just result dot append to convert it into strings, and nums at I as our starting range, and j will be our ending range. So we have to typecast j also, and like this, nums at j minus 1, and this should work fine. I have messed up the brackets, but like this, and this is good now. After doing this, we will just increment I to j wherever the j is, and return result, and this should work fine. We are done with everything. So let's see if this works or not. This works, and that's it. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments, or in the comments, just in the comments like this, and that's it.